Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, we are going to implement an Angular material table with the drag drop feature. Before starting, I hope you are all aware of Angular framework and Angular material with Node.js and Angular CLI installed in your system. And here, I'm using a Visual Studio Code editor to work with my project. You can choose any editor in which you have a good understanding. Let's get started. Well, in this video, I'm creating a new project. You can go ahead with editing if you already have a project created. I create a project using the command ng-new angular -drag -drop -table. I select no since I don't need routing for this example. Once the project is successfully created, I'll open my project in Visual Studio Code by clicking the File, Open folder, and then navigating to the path wherever I have created my project. You can see the terminal path gets updated when you open your project. Start the project using the npm run start command and check in the browser the application is working fine. This may take some time. Once the compilation is successful, you can see the browser link where your project is getting served with compiled successfully message on the terminal. So I'll go to the browser and open the link that is running with the port 4200. You can see the application is working fine now. So I want to implement the drag and drop feature in the Angular material table. So now I'm going to add Angular material in my project using the command ng add at angular/material. After adding Angular material into your project, open the app.module.ts file and add mat table module under the import section. Okay, then I'll go to the official Angular material site and copy one of the examples of tables given. In this example, I'm using a table defined using ngFor instead of statically written template. Go to the TS section, copy the periodic element interface and element data and paste it into your app.component.ts file. Then copy the columns, data source and displayed columns variables and paste them into the component.ts file. Remove the title declaration as we are not going to use it. Go to the browser, copy paste CSS style in your app.component.css file and then copy the HTML content and paste it into your HTML file. Once the application is compiled successfully, check the table is displaying as expected. Well, the table is displaying and we can see the 10 rows here. Here. Now it's time to implement drag drop functionality. I'll go ahead and import drag drop module into my app.module.ts file. And I'll move to the HTML file now and add the necessary elements. Well, before that, let's add a method in our component.ts file which will perform drag drop functionality. I'll define a method in the name of drag with the parameter event of type CDK drag drop. CDK drag drop is an element that gets emitted whenever an item is dropped into the drop container. And I'll provide its type as periodic element of the array, which we have copied earlier. Then I'll import the move item in array function, which is responsible for moving an array item from one index to another. This method accepts three parameters. The first one is the data source, which is the list of items displayed in a table. Secondly, the previous index of array. And lastly, the current index, where we intend to move an element. Now let's switch to the HTML file and add CDK drop list element and CDK drop list dropped event in the table tag. Bind the CDK drop list dropped event to the drag method, which we have just created in the previous step. CDK drop list is a container that wraps a set of draggable items, and CDK drop list dropped is an event that emits when the user drops an item inside the container. Then inside matro, I will add a CDK drag, which is an element that can be moved inside a CDK drop list container. Let's rerun the project and check. Well, the drag is working, but the element is not dropped and it is going back and sitting in its place. Since the table optimizes for performance, it will not automatically check for changes to the data array. Instead, when objects are added, removed, or moved on the data array, you can trigger an update to the table's rendered rows by calling its render rows method. Let's create a table reference by importing mat table and inside the drag method, call render rows method. Wait for the application to load. Yes, you can see the data moving into the index where we are dropping. I hope now you guys can create Angular material table with drag drop feature. For more details, please check the description below, which contains the link to the GitHub project where you can just clone the project and run to see how the drag drop works with the Angular